I got bit by a dog. Let's talk about it. I got bit by a dog, and I went to the emergency room, and the first question they asked me at the emergency room was, when was your last period? Is the dog gonna knock me up? I don't understand. Also, it feels a little victim blaming. Yeah? Doesn't it? A little bit? Yeah? It kind of feels like the equivalent of asking, like, what were you wearing? You know? Like, they're like, were you on your period? Were you asking for it a little bit? You know, dogs, strong sense of smell. Okay, how about you just give me pain meds? How about that? I had to get surgery for my wrist because it was so bad, and the day before my surgery, I couldn't eat anything. And my mom called me up, and she's like, in solidarity with you, Caitlin, I will also not be eating today. I'm like, Mom, please don't put your weird boomer eating disorder on me, okay? Have a banana, live a little, okay? I don't know. I'm into the body positive stuff. I'm lame. Anybody else? Lame? Yeah, there we go. A couple lame-os in the crowd. I know it's lame. You don't have to tell me it's lame. I know it's lame because every single time I'm on the phone with my brother, he's like, what, Caitlin? What? Body positivity? What, so now I gotta clap for every fat person I see? Is that what you're saying, Caitlin? I'm like, Josh, has the fat person been making you clap for them? Because I kind of love that, actually. You do. Personally, you have to continue to do that. So now with him, I'm trying to push body neutrality is what I'm trying to push with him, right? I'm just the basic thing of like, if you don't find someone attractive, you don't have to tell them you don't find them attractive. This seems very difficult for men to do for some reason. They're always like, she's gotta know. She doesn't. It won't change her life, I promise. Sometimes men insert themselves into situations that to me make no sense at all. Like, my best friend is gay, which is very cool. And she's married, which is also very cool. And she said that her and her wife avoid kissing in public because men have come up to them on too many occasions. And I think that is absolutely wild, right? Can you imagine if I saw two gay men kissing and went up to them and was like, you know what you need? This hole, I think it's really going to set things off. So, I would never do that. That's a crazy person thing to do, right? But sometimes, you know, it happens. But I like the body positive stuff. I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, right? Which is arguably the golden age of eating disorders, right? You know, heroin chic was a thing. It was a nightmare. It was very bad. That's why, like, nowadays I like seeing magazine covers with like different sized bodies, because like magazine covers for me were like 10 organs that are making you fat, you know, and how to remove them at home. Like, oh my God, right? And it's always next to like a chocolate cake, so you're like, what's the message here? You know, so weird. I was trying to think about like where was like the first media that I got to see my size body in. I thought about this feel-good film. Everybody say it with me. Silence of the Lambs. What a great movie for a chubby girl to watch as a child, you know? What a great movie. Silence of the Lambs, for those of you who don't know, is a movie about a serial killer who kidnaps fat women, starves them, and then skins them. He is the bad guy. It's not a coming-of-age story. He's bad. But the thing is, this is what bothers me. The thing is, the women in the movies, they're not fat. This seems like a huge plot hole to me, right? Because there's that scene in that movie where they go up to the killer's door and he's like, was she a great big fat woman? And me, if I was a detective, personally, I would have been like, listen, I know there's a murderer on the loose, or whatever, but this is toxic, okay? The women in the movies, they're a size 14. I'm a size 14. And I think I would be the worst person for Buffalo Bill to capture, right? If Buffalo Bill captured me and put me down that hole, he'd come back 2 weeks later and he'd be like, how is it that you've gained weight? Like, listen, Bill, I've been eating the lotion. Guilty as charged. Got real hungry, and in my head it tastes like yogurt. Not proud of myself, but I like seeing the couples out. I don't like to point it out. I always feel like the vibe I want to give when I see a couple is like, I love seeing your love. But the vibe I've been told I do give is, I like to watch. Which is not what I'm trying to do. I apologize. Yeah. I like seeing couples because I don't do it anymore. So I live vicariously through them. That sounds even weirder. I don't date anymore, so it's nice to see. I did date. Don't worry, I did it. I dated from 19 to 30, and then I retired from dating. Thank you. 19 to 30, that's a fair career, right? That's the career of a professional athlete. 19 to 30, right? And I feel very much the same. You know, like my heart isn't in the game anymore. You know, my knees are shot. I have brain damage. It's just a bowl of soup up there, just sloshing around. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to date in Chicago, in particular. I don't know if you guys have seen the problem. I see it, so I'll say it. But the women in Chicago are gorgeous, yeah, and they are accomplished, right? And the men in Chicago are in Chicago. Hey, they showed up. They put pants on, some of them. So. They did it. Hey. You're not missing out. I'm bad at dating in general. The last date I went out with this guy, and the first thing he brought up, this is so weird. The first thing he brought up to me, he was like, just so you know, moving forward, I have an Audi. So. And I was like, cool, I have an innie. Kind of gross, but all right. And he said, no, it's a German luxury vehicle. And right, yeah. That was my thought. I was like, oh. And then I was like, that's worse than the belly button. Keep that to yourself. That's disgusting. I don't date anymore. I think if I'm honest with myself, my perfect situation is to be a third wheel to a really solid couple. Yeah, nothing weird, you know, like just doing puzzles and stuff. But that's my speed. That's Checkeroski's speed, right? I told a friend that recently. I'm like, I think a platonic third wheel. That's my speed. And they're like, a platonic third wheel, Caitlin. That's called a child. I want new parents. You're right. All right. I'm on the asexual spectrum. Thank you. Another spectrum to be a part of. Very exciting. It just means like I have like a very low, like I'm not sexually attracted to a lot of people. So my baseline is kind of low. So it's not like no one's losing out on Caitlin because she's not really in the field. But it is weird. It feels like being on the A spectrum is kind of like being a picky eater, you know? It's like fine when you're a child, but then you grow up and everyone's like, time to fuck, you know? You go to dinner with her mom and she's like, you know, there's men in basements who would love to have sex, you know? You better eat your sex, young lady. I also feel a little bit anti-feminist to be on the A spectrum, because I feel like as a feminist you're supposed to be like, we're all supposed to be sucking and fucking, you know, and that's what's cool, you know. But I'm in the back like, if it was a different time period, I'd be a nun, and that's not cool energy to have. I'll leave you guys with a little feminist PSA before I get out of here, because that's what I like. I like learning about feminism, and it bums people out, and that makes me happy. And well, I found this out recently. I found out that the myth of hunters and gatherers is not true. Right? This myth that like men were hunters, women were gatherers. That's actually not true. It was a pretty gender-neutral activity, hunting was. And it just seems weird. Like, you think they maybe found new data? They didn't. They went to old data, but the 70s were so sexist that they'd find a woman buried with a spear, and they were just like, wow, what a really long spatula for her to have. Like, it was so bad, right? And in it, they even said, too, they were like, oh, the grandmas were the best hunters of the village. And I was like, that tracks, right? Because have you been around a grandma that wants you to eat? Unstoppable, right? I'm like, yeah, I think my grandma could stalk a deer. She waited 8 hours in line for a Beanie Baby. I think she can do it. I don't mind that men think of themselves as hunters. What bothers me is they don't seem to tend to think of themselves as gatherers, right? That's what bothers me, right? They're like, I can't find anything. I was a hunter, you know? I can't find the milk in the fridge. I'm a hunter. I can't find the clit on the body. I'm a hunter, you know? Okay, here's one last feminist fun fact to leave you guys with. This will bum you out. I found out recently that women in the country, that we got the right to abortions before we got the right to credit cards. Did you guys know that? Isn't that wild? Right? Because men were like, yeah, sure, you can terminate a pregnancy, but women be shopping. A child is one thing, but credit, it's a long-term commitment. All right? I've been Caitlin Checkeroski. You guys have been phenomenal. Thank you so much for listening.